first in the series for the month of October, where I'm gonna cover cases that happened on Halloween. So, if you're new here, please remember to subscribe and like this video if you do, and that way you can join us. But before, let's say thank you to a few important people. Today's case is not only gruesome, but it's one of those cases that I can't believe I've never heard of before. So, let me tell you about Devin Griffin, who was 16 years old in the year 2010. And in that particular year, Halloween happened to be on a Sunday. Now, Devin was part of his local church choir, and according to his family and friends, he never missed a Sunday service. So, on Halloween day of the year 2010, he went to church like any other Sunday. His routine was simple: go to church, come back home, and spend the afternoon playing video games with his online friends, like most teenagers would do. So he went to church, and when he got home, he went straight to his room without talking to his mom or anybody in the house. After a few hours, Devin decides to go downstairs to grab a snack. But he noticed that something was not right. The house was too quiet. So, at around 1:30 p.m., he started to look for his mom. Now, his mom, Susan Lisk, worked at night. She had actually the night shift or graveyard shift, like a lot of people call it. So it wasn't uncommon that she stayed in bed a little later, but never that late. And assuming like he was a typical teenager, he probably wanted to know when the food was going to be ready, or maybe what they were going to have out for lunch, or maybe even dinner. So he went to his mom's room and knocked on her door. She never answered, so he went inside the room and noticed his mom laying by her stepfather, William Lisk Sr. And again, they were both laying in bed. Devin was asking his mom if she was planning to get up anytime soon, and he started to walk towards her side of the bed, but she never answered. Now, when he got to her side of the bed, he noticed that their maroon comforter was pulled over their heads, soaked in blood. Then he saw a large wound in her neck and dark clots of blood forming around it. Initially, he thought it was a Halloween prank, a really bad one. But then he realized that it wasn't, so he left the house frantically, begging neighbors to call 911. On arrival, the Ottawa County Sheriff, Bob Brayton, said that they found 3 victims: 53-year-old William Lisk, 46-year-old wife Susan Lisk, and 23-year-old son Derek Griffin, which was Susan's son and Devin's brother. According to a preliminary report, the deaths were caused either by a gunshot or a blunt object. They almost immediately had a suspect, 24-year-old William Lisk Jr., the son of the deceased, who was again Mr. Lisk Sr. This son, William, it's kind of confusing because the son, who was 24, was William Lisk Jr., and the father was William Lisk Sr., but he was from a previous marriage. The police received a tip that the suspect was hiding out in a log cabin owned by a family member. When Deputy Michael Balish arrived at the cabin, he spotted a white Ford pickup truck that matched the description of the vehicle the suspect was driving. Lisk Jr. came out of the cabin and leaned against a porch post. The deputy pulled in with his gun drawn and took him to the ground while he waited for backup. Later, Carroll County Sheriff Dale Williams said that they found evidence on the suspect that indicated that he was guilty of not only his father's murder, but also his stepmom's and stepbrother. William Lisk Jr. had a violent history. He was no stranger to the police. In the year 2002, his dad, William Lisk Sr., called the police at least 2 times because he had threatened to harm himself. I mean, in one of those occasions, he was in house arrest for another offense, and when the police came, he attacked the responding officers. Later, he faced a Lisk Jr. got into a violent altercation with his stepmother and struck her hard in the chest. 2 months later, he was charged with felonious assault and robbery for allegedly hitting his stepmother Susan with a coffee cup before stealing her car keys. He had at least 3 other encounters with the police and even had to go to a group home for mental health patients. Police didn't have a motive at that point, but with this kind of history, it only made sense that he did it. He had too many runs in with the law and even jail time, mental health treatment. But then they run into a police report filed by Susan about a month before the murder, where she claimed that her stepson sexually assaulted her. So, at that point, the police believed that maybe Lisk Jr. was afraid that he pushed it too much, and that his dad was considering this the final straw. I mean, his dad, William Lisk Sr., fought for his son a lot. He wanted to get him out of drugs, addictions, help him make better decisions like any father would. He wanted to keep him away from jail. But with this latest thing, maybe it was a little bit too late. In court, Lisk Jr. admitted that he was guilty of all 3 counts of murder in the first degree. He was sentenced to serve 3 life sentences with no possibility of parole. In court, he told everyone present that he didn't know why he did it. He said, "I loved my dad very much, and it makes me feel sick every time I think about what I did. I can't really explain why this all had to happen, but I think most of all it had to do with my mental illness." Despite his struggles with mental illness, he was declared legally sane. His attorney presented all the evidence and mentioned that it wasn't clear if he was taking his medicine or not. He even said that he could have mixed his medicine with alcohol, but nothing helped. The lawyer even implied that he shouldn't have been provided with the alcohol, kind of victim blaming. On March 31st, 2015, William Lisk Jr. 16-year-old kid. It's just, it's one of those things that I can't even imagine what could have been gone through his head as he was going about his day, and then find out that his family was all murdered in his own house. Such a terrible tragedy that happened to happen on Halloween. But that's it for today's case today. Get ready, because if you think that this was gruesome and scary, there's a lot more to come in this month of October. As always, if you're new here, don't leave without subscribing if you enjoy the content. I usually have my proper microphone, but I didn't want to not record this video until I figured that out. Hopefully I can work on it tomorrow and see if there's something disconnected or what is going on. And if you're excited for more true crime cases that happened on Halloween, please